Turkish officials are focusing on a car belonging to the Saudi consulate in the investigation of the death of a Saudi journalist. Officers are expected to search that vehicle for evidence after it was reportedly found in the city's Sultan Ghazi district. Earlier, Turkish officials said they think Jamal Khashoggi's murder was savagely planned. Pressure is now growing for an explanation and the location of his body. After weeks of denial, Saudi officials conceded Khashoggi was killed inside their consulate in Istanbul. 18 Saudis have so far been arrested and 5 leading officials have been dismissed. Meanwhile, the King and Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia offered their condolences to Khashoggi's family.
Saudi Arabia's press agency says the country's crown prince has offered condolences to the family of Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi government says the journalist died after a fistfight inside the country's consulate in Turkey. Some have accused the prince of being involved, but the country's foreign minister again denied that. In an interview with a U.S. media outlet, Abdel al-Jubeir said his country is looking into Khashoggi's murder. Authorities arrested 18 suspects who Jubeir says acted on their own. Jubeir said Saudi Arabia's relationship with the U.S. is strategically important in containing Iran, and that their ties will weather the incident once the truth is uncovered. Saudi Arabia initially said Khashoggi left its Istanbul consulate on his own. This weekend it changed its story, admitting that he is dead. Reuters quoted a high-ranking Saudi official as saying a group of Saudi nationals threatened Khashoggi and then killed him using a chokehold. The attackers reportedly rolled up his body in a rug and gave it to a local person for disposal. The Saudi government's ever-changing narrative has prompted a massive international outcry. U.S. President Donald Trump expressed doubt about the latest explanation, saying their stories are all over the place. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says he will make a statement about the killing on Tuesday. The foreign ministers of France, Germany, and the UK are demanding that Riyadh provide more facts. They said in a statement that nothing can justify the killing. German Chancellor Angela Merkel signaled that her country will not export weapons to Saudi Arabia. The German government decided last month to export nearly $480 million worth of weapons to the kingdom. NHK asked the foreign minister of Iran, Saudi Arabia's arch-rival in the region, about the case.
It is certainly a very serious incident. The reaction by the international community has been late but strong, and we believe that there is a need to make sure that there is a full and serious investigation on this issue.
Zarif also accused the U.S. of covering for Saudi Arabia to contain Iran. He said massive U.S. investments in the kingdom and elsewhere in the region only cause chaos.
We start off with Saudi Arabia's evolving explanation of how Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed. Turkey's ruling party has said Khashoggi was the victim of a monstrously planned murder at the hands of Riyadh. Saudi Arabia says Khashoggi died in a brawl in the Saudi consulate. Now, U.S. broadcaster CNN has released CCTV footage, which it says shows a Saudi operative dressed in Khashoggi's clothes leaving the consulate on the day he was killed. CNN quotes a Turkish official saying the man was brought in to act as a body double. In a separate development, an apparently abandoned car belonging to the Saudi consulate has been found in an Istanbul parking garage. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is set to present details of the investigation to the Turkish parliament on Tuesday.
Another twist in the plot against Jamal Khashoggi. Turkish officials have released a video showing a man wearing the Saudi Arabian dissident journalist's clothes and walking out of the consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd. A Saudi official is believed to have played the role of a body double. Saudi Arabia tries to salvage its investment conference, meanwhile, and the ruse was acknowledged by a Saudi official and cast further doubt on Riyadh's version of events in which Khashoggi was killed in a fistfight. Cole Stangler has the latest.
New CCTV footage appears to show Jamal Khashoggi just hours before he died. Images appear to show the journalist entering his residence in Istanbul along with his fiancée and leaving to go to the Saudi consulate, where the kingdom now acknowledges he was killed. Ankara has promised to release its investigation into Khashoggi's death on Tuesday, but on Monday, a spokesman for Turkey's ruling party suggested the government believes a plot was hatched in advance.
We're in the midst of a situation that has been savagely planned and was later covered up with great effort. From this point of view, it is a very complicated murder.
Turkish officials have accused the Saudis of murdering the journalist and dismembering his body.
As you know, I had a conversation with the Saudi king the evening before. Last night, Trump called me. I had a conversation with him. We had the opportunity to evaluate this process.
After blanket denials, Riyadh now says Khashoggi was killed in what they called a brawl. Western governments haven't found that convincing, including France, the UK, and Germany, which have issued a joint statement disputing Riyadh's narrative. Germany says it has halted arms exports to the oil-rich kingdom. In a separate development, Ankara has accused Saudi officials of using a body double for the journalist the day he was killed. As part of their ongoing investigation, Turkish prosecutors questioned 5 Turkish staffers of the Saudi consulate on Monday. They've questioned more than a dozen such employees so far.
Hello, President Trump has said he's not satisfied with what he's heard from Saudi Arabia, but does not want to lose investment. Well, these comments in the last few minutes come as Turkey's ruling party described the death of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi as a monstrously planned murder. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has promised to reveal what he calls the naked truth on Tuesday. When it comes as investigators have found a car belonging to the Saudi consulate in an Istanbul car park, but they have not been given permission to search it yet. And footage has emerged of an alleged body double among the 15-man hit squad sent to kill Khashoggi. The man, who's been identified as Mustafa al-Madani, dressed up in Khashoggi's clothes before leaving the consulate and walking around Istanbul. Indonesia's President Joko Widodo has called for a transparent and thorough investigation, while Britain and France have asked for urgent clarification. White House advisor Jared Kushner says the US is still awaiting the facts before it decides on how to proceed. He's called on Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to take the situation seriously. In a moment, we'll have a reaction from Washington, D.C. Patty Culhane is standing by. But first, let's get the latest from Istanbul with Jamal and Shayal. So, Jamal, tell us more about the very latest that's coming in Istanbul.
Well, we've seen a sudden increase in the number of statements being made by officials here in Turkey ahead of this much anticipated brief that the president said he will be making on Tuesday. Not only has there been an increase in the number of statements, but also in the tone, Lauren, used by specific officials, not least by the spokesperson of the AK party, all of them saying that they will not allow for a cover-up, that Turkey will be revealing all the information, not only of what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, but also who was behind it and who is responsible. And here is one of the sound bites that came out earlier today.
We're facing a situation that has been monstrously planned, and later there were vast attempts to cover it up. When we look at it from this point of view, it is a very complicated murder. For us, it's a debt of honor to reveal the truth. The truth will come out. Our president said he's personally following the incident. Nobody in the world blames Turkey. On the contrary, everybody appreciates Turkey on this matter.
And Jamal, what more do we know about the investigation and the discovery we mentioned about this car?
Well, a lot of information has been released on Monday, Lauren. There was this footage of a diplomatic car, one registered to the Saudi mission here in Istanbul, which was parked in a car park in one of the areas of Istanbul. It was flimsily hidden behind some sort of barrier, or at least the number plate of that car was hidden. According to some sources close to the investigation, they say traffic cameras pictured or recorded this car entering the parking lot. Then it was followed by a second car. There was some sort of objects or documents, or we're not quite sure exactly what was loaded onto that second car that followed in from the diplomatic car. Now, the police here want to search that vehicle. However, because it is a diplomatic vehicle, therefore it enjoys immunity the same way as the consulate itself, the Consul General's home, and anything registered to a diplomatic mission. They still haven't been able to because the Saudis have not given that approval yet. But that's just the last bit of information. I mean, there's other things that came about on Monday as well. There was footage that one of the Turkish media networks showed, which shows Saudi officials in the garden of the consulate burning documents just 24 hours after Jamal Khashoggi was killed. Suspicious, to say the least. There was also footage, as you mentioned, of this body double, one of the 15 men that are accused of being part of this hit squad sent by Saudi Arabia to murder, assassinate Jamal Khashoggi. It shows him the footage. They released this to an American network of this man who looks a bit similar, at least in terms of age and build, walking out. He's 57 years old. Jamal Khashoggi was 59 at the time, walking out of the building from the exit behind. There's another exit behind this building, wearing the exact same clothes that Jamal Khashoggi was dressed in as he entered the last time he was seen on camera, in an attempt maybe to confuse police, to make them believe that Khashoggi had exited. Not only was he wearing the same clothes, Lauren, he had a fake beard on. Obviously, this was seen as something, brazen, considering he's wearing the same clothes that the deceased was wearing just a couple of hours before. The fact that it didn't have any blood on it, it wasn't really ripped or anything, would point to that it was taken off before. Obviously, he was dismembered, and also maybe would cast further doubt on the idea that there was some sort of fight in the way that the Saudis have narrated it. He's then seen going to a popular area in Istanbul, trying to maybe mix within the crowd. He goes into a bathroom, comes out wearing different clothes, takes off the beard, throws it in the dumpster together with the clothes, and then is seen essentially senselessly laughing with his friend after they've completed their part of what the Turks have described as a monstrous mission by them. All of this casts further doubts, Lauren, very quickly on this narration that this was a rogue operation, that this somehow went wrong. No, the Turks say this was meticulously prepared, meticulously executed, and it could have only been done by directives, or at least the knowledge of the most senior leadership in the Saudi kingdom.
Jamal Shayad, thank you very much indeed. Well, despite the differing narratives about what happened on October the 2nd, some facts are indisputable, pieced together using security footage and Turkish intelligence. Turkish sources say the leader of what they call the Saudi hit team was the Crown Prince's bodyguard, Maher Abdulaziz Mutreb. Andrew Simmons looks back at Jamal Khashoggi's last day.
It started here at Ataturk International Airport in the early hours of October the 2nd, a sequence of events that led to the death of Jamal Khashoggi. Based on leaked video surveillance, this is the timeline. At 3:28, one of two private jets on the runway is picked out by investigators. Transfer vehicles take their passengers to the private jet terminal. At 3:37, it's the first sighting of one half of the team from Saudi Arabia. It's now 4:29. They're leaving the airport. The processing has taken nearly an hour. Just over 30 minutes later, at 5:05, part of the team arrive here at the Movenpick Hotel. Matrib is seen in the foreground of this lift. It isn't until 9:40 that he's seen again, leading the team. 15 minutes later, Matrib arrives here at the Saudi Arabia consulate. He goes inside. Matrib and other members of the team, including Salah Mohammed Al-Tubaigi, an autopsy expert, make preparations. Their target, Jamal Khashoggi, approaches more than 3 hours later with his fiancée, Hatice Cengiz. It's 13:13. They agree that if anything goes wrong, she should alert a trusted contact, a Turkish government official. It's the last Hatice sees of her fiancé as he walks into a trap at 13:14. Inside, the Turkish and Saudi versions of events conflict. Gruesome accounts of Khashoggi's torture and alleged murder in transcripts leaked from an audio recording held by the Turks. And 17 days after what happens here, the Saudis say the team were acting with no orders from Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi Crown Prince. Khashoggi was killed inadvertently, they said, when he was restrained. In real time, His fiancée was waiting anxiously outside at 17:33. She had made the call for help, but it was too late. The man who had risked his life to get a document proving his marital status, allowing his wedding to go ahead, was dead, although confirmation was to take another 17 days. It could have been a script from a Hollywood movie set. But in real time, a trauma is beginning to play out for Hatice, and Turkish intelligence and security agents start to race against the clock. Once alerted, undercover agents rushed here to Ataturk Airport. One of the planes is searched and baggage checked. Between 1957 and 2011, at least some of the team is seen leaving hotels in small groups. At 2100, this, the second of the private jets, is preparing for takeoff. It's a timeline that lasted nearly 18 hours. The day Jamal Khashoggi, who dared to criticize the rule of Mohammed bin Salman, is declared missing. But he's really dead. The only thing that is missing is his body.